This But We Made is a small narrative indie game made by Lowbird Game Studio, and I believe this is their first game. The game itself is short, with a single playthrough lasting for about 3 hours, and if you want to go achievement hunting, you can expect your total playthrough to be around like 6 or 7 hours. The main reason is that early on in the game, you're forced to pick a companion, and depending on which companion you pick, it's gonna lock off some achievements. I played the game twice to see both companions, and in my attempt to obtain a better ending, because my first time around it went quite poorly. Now you play Sophie, a maid responsible for cleaning the 5th floor of a hotel. That means making the beds, changing out the towels, scrubbing the tub, and throwing away the trash. And while you do that, you can also snoop around and learn more about the guests staying in the room. Snooping is kind of the main point of the game, and the catalyst of the story, because one day when Sophie enters room 505, she finds a darkroom setup in the bathroom, and there are photos of her snooping into guest belongings. From there, Sophie picks up the phone, and you get to pick a confidant to help you figure out what's going on with this guest, and a few other guests as well. And of course you do that by snooping, reading their documents, figuring out codes to saves, translating coded messages, and just generally figuring out what's going on in the hotel. And your snooping isn't limited to just the guests, you can also look at things related to your coworkers. Now, throughout the investigation, choices really do matter. What you do or do not do will change the outcome for Sophie and several other characters in the story. This includes choosing if you clean the room or not, which items you throw away, what you manage to find, and what dialogue choices you make. Though at times I found the game a bit weird with not letting me throw away things I wanted to throw away till later in the story. But overall, I really enjoyed my first playthrough of this short game. The mystery was interesting and the voice acting really carried the story. The hotel looks nice, and I enjoyed snooping around. I enjoyed learning about the guests and my coworkers, and both possible companions I found to be really nice to interact with. Though I was disappointed on my second playthrough to realize that there is very little difference between them. They do bring slightly different perspective to the final outcome, but outside of that, the difference is only minor flavor during dialogues. No matter which companion you choose, they will give you all the same solutions. They will help you in the same way and meet you in the same places. I found it quite disappointing, as honestly I would have preferred to simply have both companions in the same playthrough instead, as I feel they would have played really well off one another, especially with their opposite views during the final scene, which could have brought a really interesting perspective to the game. In the end, what you're really picking is who do you want to be talking to throughout the game, and if you want to romance one of them, because you can romance the person that becomes your confidant. So you just pick the one you like better. Overall, the hotel looks lovely and the game plays nicely. It controls just fine, though sometimes it can be a little bit clunky, and I find the character animations to be quite stiff. Still, they are nothing that is too bothersome. What did really annoy me though was the constant dinging bell sound I kept on hearing throughout the game. I'm not fully sure what was causing it. I think it's a notification for when I have new information in my mental collection. But honestly, I found that evidence and progress menu to be just more annoying than useful, as the progress did give some hints of what I was meant to do, but I found having to go in there after what felt like every minor discovery was just frustrating. And the evidence is just the stuff I already read. It was really handy when I was solving puzzles to be able to go in there and look at it, but it felt kinda annoying that the game kept on telling me I had new stuff in this mental inventory when it was just the same letter I had just finished reading. And because I kept on hearing the sound and trying to ignore it, the moment when a similar sound is meant to inform you that something strange is going on, I didn't really notice it, because I had become so used to hearing just a very similar sound throughout the game. I think this is a fine first game, but I wish the story had been longer, set maybe over a few more days, maybe letting me meet the staff of the hotel more or observe the guests longer, go to the rooms a few days in a row, see what has changed and having to hide my snooping so they would not complain about me. Especially because all of the guests I seem to be following are there on extended stays. But overall I enjoyed this short experience, but I doubt I will play it again. So was it worth it? For my 5 hours of playthrough, I think it was alright. I am someone who tends to really enjoy game concepts like this, so I found it worth playing, but only really once, and I was left thinking more about what the game could have been instead of what it was. I think it's a good game from a studio, and I'm excited to see what they do in the future. And I think if you ever spot this game on a discount and the idea of this gameplay sounds interesting to you, you should definitely give it a go. It is definitely a nice evening worth of a mystery. Just don't expect it to expend too much more than that. So tell me, what do you think? Have you played this bet we made? Do you agree with me or think I'm being too harsh with it? And no matter if you played it or not, do you think this is a game worth playing for you? Let's talk about it in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure to do all the good YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, share the video, all that. And whatever you do, I hope you have a lovely day.